Okay, this hand is garbage. We're going to mull. Again, we have a 1-land hand. Come on, deck. Okay, this is better. We'll keep... How many cards do we have to put back? Keep 5 cards. So we want to keep 2 lands. Keep the Verdant Catacombs and probably the Stomping Ground. We'll definitely want to keep one of the discard spells. I'm wondering if I want to keep 2 creatures or if I want to keep 2 discard spells. Let's go with 1 discard spell here, and then we'll play 2 Hexdrinkers turn 2. No, we'll play 1 Hexdrinker, and then we'll Thoughtseize Hexdrinker. So the Thoughtseize will tell us if we're looking at a Wrenn and Six, just wondering if I want to go get a basic swamp here. I think we'll just play the Blood Crypt and keep the Verdant Catacombs for another turn. Very cool. So let's see here. The Sword of Feast and Famine is quite good against our deck. The Teferi, likewise. So all in all, this hand is quite good against us. I think that we have to take the Sword of Feast and Famine. It's just not something we're going to be able to beat. We're not going to bother leveling up our Hexdrinker. This is just going to get bounced by the Teferi. But if they do that, we have another Hexdrinker ready to kill Teferi. So they might have to put down a Stoneforge Mystic. No, they're looking to Spellquell something here. So we'll probably just level up our Hexdrinker. Can go get basic swamp. Inquisition of Kozilek. Okay, we don't want to get that eaten up by a Spellqueller right now, so we'll just pump up one of our Hexdrinkers and attack with that. Again, we don't want to get our Hexdrinker eaten by a Spellqueller as well, so we're just going to attack with the 1. Okay, we now have a 4/4 with protection from instants. And next turn we can make the other Hexdrinker a 4/4 as well. Is this Queller for no value? That's fine. So that's going to be a nice blocker. If they put Teferi down, they can put Teferi down, blink the large Hexdrinker here, and they'll be able to keep Teferi around. Okay, they have a ton of blockers here. Should be easy for them to keep the Teferi around for a turn. But attacking with the Spell Queller means that removal spell here will be quite good. And Hexdrinker will be eating that Birds of Paradise. So we can play out our hand here. Oh, a Scourge is very good too. Maybe we'll play Inquisition Scourge. Let's attack the Teferi first and get that bird off the board. No, they're going to just let us kill the Teferi. So let's Inquisition. See what we can pull out of their hand here. Okay, they have Uro and a Stoneforge Mystic. If we put the Uro to the graveyard, they don't have the mana yet for it. Whereas Stoneforge Mystic would get them an equipment that they could put onto the board right away. Let's get rid of the Stoneforge. We'll leave them with Uro. The Scourge will shrink because of the Uro, but it is what it is. So I'd be quite happy with Scavenging Ooze here. Oh, wow. They have enough land to bring that Uro back into play. Impressive. Going to be looking for Abrupt Decay, Fatal Push. Lightning Bolt would be a fine trick. Sure would like Reign of Gore. Wrenn and Six, huh? Okay. This is difficult. Unfortunately, we don't have any way to affect the opponent's life total except for the Wrenn and Six. So we could Wrenn and Six, target them. Then our Scourge would become a 6/6. We could attack them again. That might be the best way to go. But we don't have the secondary green mana to put the Hexdrinker down. So we'll just have to keep this Drinker back. Cancel that. So what if we do 1 damage to them? Scourge becomes a 6/6. Then they just block with Uro. I think that's still better than the alternative. A very awkward position we're in here. Yeah, we could return the Verdant Catacomb. That would allow us to play the Hexdrinker. Okay, they're letting us hit it. Okay. That's it for this turn. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, we'll put the Hexdrinker in front of Uro, gain a life, basically, gain some life basically that way. Okay, there's that Scooze. Unfortunately, we don't really have the mana to be using. We only have the one green source, and Death Shadow would be significantly better in this spot. So play Hexdrinker, we'll level it up, and we'll just keep the Scourge back to potentially block the Uro. So the Uro comes through, they gain 3 life, Scourge goes to a 6/6. So that would be a trade. Or we could take the bird off the board here. Oh, there's a Death Touch creature, so we're going to concede here. Okay, so we're dealing with another Uro pile. Let's see here. So we have Soul Guide Lantern to take their cards out of the graveyard. Take out Dismember. I definitely like the Abrupt Decay here. Lightning Bolts are so-so. Got a lot of options for creature removal here that I think we want to cut down a little bit on. Oh, not that one. This one. Okay, we got a 2-land hand this time. I do have to remember we did mulligan to 5 on that last round. So we will keep this. We're missing red mana, but we don't have anything red yet. We can start with Inquisition into Tarmogoyf. Ton of Icevine Quaddles, so we're obviously not targeting one of those. We could grab the Uro here, or the Geist. Geist would be a bit of a problem to deal with. And we have the Cling for the Uro. So yeah, let's take the Geist out of their hand. And we got a fetch land. Perfect. That'll make the Tarmogoyf that much bigger. So we're going to want some kind of a red land, probably red-black. But we could probably do that next turn. With a Peatland there, I'm not too worried about fetch shocking. Get a Blood Crypt. Play Tarmogoyf. Okay, there's a Hexdrinker, so we got another play. Let's go ahead and smash face. We're ready with that Fatal Push, so we can get that Scourge out, lickety-split. Get an instant into the graveyard, grow the Tarmogoyf. Okay, so they have another Quaddle ready to go, but it does not have, okay, Inquisition's pretty nice there. Let's go ahead and start with that. Oh, Veil of Summer. Okay. But that does mean they cannot cast the Coatl this turn. So this is going to be pretty big damage. Hit for 9. We'll play the Hexdrinker and hold up Cling to Dust. I don't think it's necessary to hold up Cling to Dust here. I think we'll just level up the Hexdrinker, and we'll have Cling for next turn if we need it. They're not going to be able to put the Uro into the graveyard and back onto the board here. Okay, they do now have mana for Coatl, and they have 2 snow-covered permanents here. So they need 1 more, and that's the 1 more to give their creature Death Touch. So they'll be able to Death Touch our Scourge. Going to be looking to draw a Lightning Bolt or a Fatal Push here. But I think with the Cling, we're still doing pretty well. We could level up the Hexdrinker twice so that it's a 4/4. Then they'll have to block with the Hierarch as well. Should have used the Nurturing Peatland there for the Hexdrinker so that the Scourge would be an 8/8. Oh, I think you're just dead if you get basic planes. They might have drawn a Path. That could be why. They probably drew Path. Which means the Hexdrinker is going to survive. Oh, okay. So they're going to Path the Scourge. That makes a lot more sense. We get to keep the Tarmogoyf. Okay. Just going to ignore that. And we'll Cling the Uro, get it out of here. Okay, there's a Deputy that gets rid of one of our Tarmogoyfs. Good thing we didn't play the other one, I guess. This is a really cool deck the opponent is playing. Oh, that'll get us our Tarmogoyf back. Oh, that's a mana leak. Okay. So we'll just wait till the opponent's end step, and then we'll get our Tarmogoyf back. Actually, because of the Veil of Summer, I think I want to get rid of that Deputy of Detention right now. That would be a way that we would get blown out, is if they had Veil of Summer to give their Deputy of Detention hexproof versus our Abrupt Decay. I think they might have another Coatl as well. So we could flashback Cling, or we could put Lurrus to hand. Personally, I'm leaning towards grabbing Lurrus. Let's go ahead and attack with the Tarmogoyf. Okay, yeah, they did have another Coatl. We'll trade here. They're going to be drawing Aether Gust. Oh, we draw Scourge. Very nice. Okay, there's an Uro. They're quite close, actually, to bringing it back. Surprised they didn't use the Plains there, so they must have a Path to Exile ready to go. Otherwise, they would have used that Plains for their generic mana. But they already have the Hierarchs here providing white mana. So that seems like a bit of a tell. Now we have the Cling here. We could get rid of the Uro with that, or we could get rid of it with Spellbomb. So I like that. We could Spellbomb Scourge. Or we could put the Lurrus in and Bauble. But then we wouldn't get to draw a card from the Spellbomb, right? Okay. So we'll put the Scourge down now and see if that'll draw a path, and then we can get that with the Spellbomb as well. We draw another threat. And opponent has Teferi, so they're going to be able to unsummon the Scourge here, draw a card. Game is still going. Okay, that bird is attacking for 2 here. And they have 3 mana, so they could have a Spell Queller up. Okay, we get another land. Thinking we probably play the Scourge first to see if that will get the Spell Queller, and then we can play Lurrus Bauble. Okay, that resolves. So maybe I just play the Hexdrinker here. I'm wondering if I pay the life in order to start leveling up the Hexdrinker. They're attacking for 2 a turn, so I would be knocking a turn off of my clock. And if they just go ahead and put the Spell Queller down here, that's going to be hitting for 4 a turn. Maybe we'll just draw a card instead. Okay, there's the Aether Gust. We'll put that to the bottom. We have another Hexdrinker in the graveyard if we want it with a Lurrus. Oh my, another Teferi. Well, that'll just bounce the Scourge, right? Yes, indeed. Okay, Stoneforge Mystic is going to go get a sword. And they have the mana that they could just go ahead and cast it as well right now. We've already used one of our Abrupt Decays. Alright, let's draw a card here. Maybe I don't draw a card. We have 5 mana, so we can Lurrus, Scourge, and Mishra's Bauble. And a Tarmogoyf off the top. Okay, there's that mana leak. We have a very lethal Scourge, but we're going to have a lot of trouble getting it through these blockers. We're not playing the Temur Battle Rage, so we can't give it Trample. Okay, there's that sword. That's a big problem. They're going to be able to equip that to a bird or whatever and just swing in. So that's going to be 3, 4, 5 damn. Okay, just 4 then, because they didn't put it on the Mystic. But that's still basically game over. We could gain 3 life through the Cling to Dust, which would mean we're pretty dead then, because that's 5 total. Oh, and they're still doing things? Okay, and that's a block. Okay. And we find a Thoughtseize. We'll concede. Okay, we have 2 lands. We have a start with Hexdrinker into Tarmogoyf. We have Bauble. We have Wrenn and Six. This hand is great. Definitely keep this. And it looks like we're playing against Burn. Who else plays Inspiring Vantage? Okay, still want to start with Hexdrinker here. Find another Hexdrinker off the top. Play Mishra's Bauble. And we'll go ahead and see what they're going to draw. They're going to get a Lightning Helix. Okay, we find another land off the top. This is a good land for Wrenn and Six. We can go get a swamp with that. And they have an Eidolon. We have a Abrupt Decay to answer that, fortunately. We could also just attack with Hexdrinker and see what happens. So I think I'll play the Verdant Catacombs. I can go get basic Swamp with it. And then I'll attack with Hexdrinker, and I'll Abrupt Decay depending on how they play. They'll probably just attack with the Eidolon, and I'll have to Abrupt Decay it during their combat step. I think that would be their best play. But if they want to play any other creatures, they would have to do it pre-combat. So we're not getting attacked by anything extra. Oh, another Eidolon. Okay. That is a bit of a problem. We cannot play the Scourge because of their Helix. I mean, that would only put them to 19 because of the Eidolon. So I guess we could play Scourge. I'm kind of leaning towards just playing Tarmogoyf here and playing a tap land. This is a mighty large Tarmogoyf, but our life total is also quite low. The one advantage here is that for every spell the opponent is casting, they were also going to be losing life. So Tarmogoyf does seem quite good. And they are flooding out a little bit here. 3 lands is what Burn wants to stick to. Okay, Swift Spear. We've got some blocks anyway. I guess they could say the same. We do intend on blocking whatever comes our way. Ah, that's a big nothing. Okay. So we could level up the Hexdrinker. That would be countered by any one of their spells, but then that's a spell that's not going at us. So if they want to let this get up to a 4/4, that's good for us. And if they use their mana to cast a spell at the Hexdrinker, that's fine too. They should let us go ahead and tap the 3 mana before they cast any spells, though. If they use the Helix, then they won't have the mana to draw a card. End of turn. We do know about 1 Lightning Helix. It was revealed to us by the Mishra's Bauble. Murderbug has taken a little while here to figure out what they're going to do in response to our Hexdrinker level ups. We just really weren't in the mood to trade it if they're going to be blocking with the Swift Spear and then casting a Helix at us. Okay, this is their chance right now. Oh, they let it happen. That's a shock. I did not expect that. Okay, let's attack. Hexdrinker with protection from instants. That should be quite good here. Swift Spear blocking the Tarmogoyf. Okay, here's the Helix. They're going to need to double spell if they want to kill the Tarmogoyf. No, they're going for us. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, they could have double Boros Charm here, and then we're dead. No, that's a Skull Crack. I guess single Boros Charm is going to be enough. Ah, close game. Okay, so unfortunately we don't have any way to gain life except for Scavenging Ooze and Cling to Dust. We can take out the Thoughtseize. And then we could bring in what? I suppose we could bring in Kozilek's Return. Engineered Explosive seems good. Maybe Abrade. I think that was a close game. Might have made a small error about our attack step there. Feeling maybe a little overconfident, and probably should have only attacked with the Tarmogoyf there. Maybe put Lurrus into hand at that point. So we are missing red land for the Wrenn and Six, but we do have Bauble for the Tarmogoyf. Abrupt Decay is quite nice, but I don't like the Nurturing Peatland here. Scourge of the Skyclaves seems quite good. Maybe the good outweighs the bad in this hand. Let's try it. We can play the Tomb tapped to start, play the Bauble. Okay, they're drawing a Swift Spear. Oh, we got a lightning bolt off the top. Need some red lands, though. Red mana, here we go. Oh, Wooded Foothills is pretty good from the opponent. Puts our Tarmogoyf up to a 2/3, so it no longer dies to lightning bolt from the other side. And the Swift Spear that we've seen is cast. Alright, hope for a red land off the top. And we find one. Okay. So we're going to have to consider how we want to play out our turn here. We could play Tarmogoyf, which seems pretty solid. Or we could Lightning Bolt the Swift Spear. Either way, we're going to have to fetch Shock with a Bloodstained Mire. And if we play the Tarmogoyf, we're not going to be able to really stop the Swift Spear anyway. Just wish we didn't have to take the pain of a fetch shock. But we have no basic mountains in this list. So we'll go get a Blood Crypt. And just go ahead and I guess we could wait on the Abrupt Decay to see if there's something that we want to kill more than the Swift Spear. If they put a Eidolon down, for example, we're going to want to take care of that. But we might want to use a Lightning Bolt for something like that so that we can 2-spell. Okay, it looks like they're not satisfied with just 1 damage here. They're going to go for maybe a Boros Charm. Yeah. 4 damage to us, and we're going to Abrupt Decay the Swift Spear. I'm using Abrupt Decay here instead of Lightning Bolt because the Lightning Bolt is a 1-mana spell, so it'll be easier for us to double spell next turn this way. Okay, we get Verdant Catacombs. So I think we want to play that over the Peatland so we can go get a basic forest and then just play Tarmogoyf, hold up Blood Crypt. Going down from 12 to 11 doesn't matter very much, but the constant damage from the Peatland turn after turn is not something that we're really into. Okay, so we could Lightning Bolt them, put them to 15. Tarmogoyf will put them to 11, and then Scourge would be very strong. Oh, we got a Fatal Push off the top too? Deck, thank you. Alright, we'll wait until post-combat to cast the Scourge. They could have a Path to Exile. Deflecting Palm from the opponent would also be very strong. Okay, there's a path. We could play the Wrenn and Six here, or we could hold up Fatal Push, draw a card. I'm going to hold up the mana. Oh, they have another Path to Exile for the Scourge. Brutal. I don't think we have any basics left. We don't. Okay. Can't exactly bring our threats back when they've been exiled like that. Okay, Tarmogoyf. Found another threat. And Inquisition. Okay, very nice. So let's see what they're holding here. Oh, something they want to cast. Oh, Boros Charm puts us to 1. Ouch. So pretty much anything from the opponent is good to kill us. But we get to hold up Fatal Push. So basic creature won't be good enough. But we are still in just a heap of trouble here. Almost any card the opponent draws is going to finish this game and match. Well, they didn't find it for the first draw. What about the second draw? There it is. Okay, 2 lands. We got a Scourge, we got a Tarmogoyf, Thoughtseize. This hand looks good. Opponent is also playing Lurrus. So let's get started. Probably start with an Overgrown Tomb, Thoughtseize. Okay, Blood Crypt, so we could be getting Thoughtseized ourselves. Nope, this is a Swift Spear. We could Fatal Push that, but I think we're going to be more interested in pushing their Scourge. So we'll just start with a Thoughtseize. Okay, basic Swamp off the top. We could just start with the basic Swamp. That wouldn't be so bad. I would like to leave the Bauble until their upkeep, so that I don't get whatever the new card is Thoughtseized away. And they're going to be doing enough damage to our life total. We don't need to worry about the Scourge of the Skyclaves in that way. Okay, they do have a Thoughtseize. Okay, so if I let them play the Kroxa, I could, well, if I discard a land, I take damage. And the Fatal Push is a decent answer versus Temur Battle Rage, so maybe I take the Kroxa or the Thoughtseize. Hi, handsome. Yeah, junding it up. I'm going to throw money at my opponent and see if that'll be enough. Yeah, I think we're going to take the Thoughtseize here. And then we'll pass to their upkeep. Morning, handsome. Hope you're doing all right. Okay, they're drawing Death Shadow. Okay, here's the Kroxa. We'll discard a land, lose some life. There are a few bots. I had one offering me to make me big time famous. Oh, another Scourge. Cool. So I think we'll just play land Scourge here. Go get Overgrown Tomb. Or, what's the other one? Stomping Ground. Let's get all of our colors of mana up here. Well, that's part of the appeal of this channel. I do make quite a few mistakes. So, chat, you get to laugh at me, point a finger, say how you would have played that so much better. These are just some of the services that I provide. They're... okay. Yep, you sure cast the Dismember there. Did you realize that my Scourge was going to grow when you cast it? Speaking of play mistakes here, I'm wondering if our opponent just didn't realize that their Dismember was going to grow our Scourge. I think that they just paid for life, discarded a card for nothing. Okay, so the Lightning Bolt here would allow them to trade. Twitch chat is the best resource. So if we put the Monastery Swiftspear in front of the Scourge in front of the Swiftspear, we basically get a 3 for 1. However, if we just leave it, then we have a huge Scourge. They're not going to be able to Temur Battle Rage this turn, so I think it's better just to let that happen, and then we'll have a 9/9 Scourge. Hey there, Panda. We get a Lightning Bolt off the top. We're pretty much good to win. Okay, Death Shadow is a 2/2. We can Fatal Push that out of the way. And we get a Hexdrinker. I think we're going to want to conserve our life total. We know that they have Lightning Bolt and they have a Monastery Swiftspear here. So I think we just attack with Scourge and then play a Scourge of our own and hold up Fatal Push. Okay, it looks like they're throwing their shadow under the bus. So in that case, I think we'll just play another Scourge. Basically the same plan. Hold up Fatal Push. I would say so. I would say that definitely won us the game. Okay, we're just going to Fatal Push their Swiftspear and attack for lethal. Oh no, but what if they have Deflecting Palm, chat? Okay, no Deflecting Palm. Whew. That would be quite the hedge, putting that in the main, let me tell you what. Okay, so we're playing basically a mirror match here. Veil of Summer seems okay. They're going to be running Fatal Push and the like. Engineered Explosive seems okay. Assassin's Trophy, definitely want that. Kolaghan's Command could be good if this turns into a grind. Well, you can't push your own dude anymore. How do you mean? Okay, Veil, yeah. That is what I did with this list. I actually am not playing any shadows in this list. I find that without Phyrexian spells or Street Wraith, we don't have enough life loss. That's true. I see what you mean there. I think we could probably take out Spellbomb. Spellbomb is fine. They do have Lurrus. Maybe we take out some of the discard? Kind of like the Jund philosophy on that. Oh, no kidding. Cool, cool. Well, glad you came by. Yeah, I was playing Spirits, I guess that was last week. Had a really, really good time with Spirits. Highly recommend that deck. And thanks a lot for dropping by. Okay, so we're missing red mana here, but otherwise our hand looks fine. We can Hexdrinker turn 1, and then look at Thoughtseize. Hey, if you stay in school, then you'll always have class. Okay, what do we get off the top here? Okay, I'm wondering if we start with Hexdrinker or if we start with Thoughtseize. I'm kind of leaning towards starting with Thoughtseize so we protect the Hexdrinker instead of letting their removal take it out. Yeah, so maybe we'll just start with Overgrown Tomb, cast the Thoughtseize. Okay, so they have 2 Scourge, as well as plenty of removal spells. They only have 1 other land in the Agadeem's Awakening, so we're going to take that and hope that they just can't cast their spells here. Generally, I do not recommend trying to hose an opponent's lands, but we have no removal for their Scourges, so we're just going to take Agadeem's Awakening and pray that they don't draw lands for a couple turns. That's exactly what I was thinking. Don't do it very often, but I think this is the time for it. Yeah, and we don't often get chatty opponents. Every once in a while, though, we do. Our opponent here has been playing Shadow for a while, and they were a little bit disappointed when they misplayed that Dismember, so we started chatting. Okay, looks like they don't have their land, so they're going to Thoughtseize us. And that looks like the card that they drew. Okay, they do have Fatal Push for the second Scourge here. So we don't necessarily want to just throw that Scourge into that push. I think instead we're just going to play the Hexdrinker, which unfortunately does die to Lightning Bolt. And I think we're going to put the Spellbomb down as well. High Noon at Yuma. I was calling it Jund Scourge, but I like your name better. We got plenty of green mana, so we're going to go get Blood Crypt. And on their upkeep, we will use the Bauble. We do it on their upkeep so that we can see what they're drawing for the turn, and we won't lose the card that we draw with the Bauble to their Thoughtseize. Okay, so they're drawing a Swift Spear. That's not a land. Okay, they're going to go ahead and kill our creature. That makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, and we get another Fatal Push. Very nice. I'm thinking that I'll just play the Overgrown Tomb here and put Lurrus in hand. No Death Shadows at High Noon. That makes sense. Story checks out. Yeah, I really just don't want to play that Scourge into that Fatal Push. If we had another threat, I would be more likely to do it. Okay, we can take that stop off the upkeep there. Get rid of that Lightning Bolt. Okay, there's the Swift Spear. And we get Basic Forest. Okay. That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm going to put the Lurrus into play, put Hexdrinker into play, and then after that I can put Scourge into play on the next turn. We're almost there. Costs 7 mana to do it. We're at 4. Okay, opponent is passing with their mana up. So it looks like they want to do some Fatal Push stuff. So we're not going to block. We don't want to let them Fatal Push our Lurrus here. Every once in a while, the flavor text actually says something. I mean, look at Yawgmoth. Look at General Kudro. Okay, there's their Scourge. And they're tapped out, so they're not going to be able to Fatal Push our Lurrus when we Fatal Push their Scourge. Oh, Seal of Fire is quite nice too. We could just take out their board here. Pew pew indeed. You're gonna have to wait a little bit longer to see that Scourge with Kicker though. Okay, looks like they're just going to pass, hold up Fatal Push. Let's see here. So we have the Seal of Fire. 4, 5, 6, 7. I think that we just win here, even through a single Fatal Push. They're going to need 2. Let's start by leveling up our Hexdrinker. And then we'll get Seal of Fire and blast them for 2. We're going to put this out pre-combat just in case they find a way to kill the Lurrus, but that could be a little bit premature on the Seal. I only really want it if it's lethal. Yeah, there's the Fatal Push on the Scourge. They'll take 7, and then Seal of Fire will end it. Okay, we won a match. Okay, so we got 3 lands. We have a pair of discard spells as well as an early threat. This is definitely keepable. So we have to decide if we want to play Inquisition first to basically keep a little bit of protection on the Hexdrinker here. Since we don't have a second threat, I don't want the Hexdrinker going out on my opponent's turn 1. So we're just going to go ahead and start with an Inquisition. Play the land first. And we're going to go get Blood Crypt. Okay, so yeah, we're playing against Storm, and look at that. When you see a hand like that, you just gotta say, look at that. Just look at it. Full of Stormlords. I guess we take the remand. Okay, and they're drawing us Serum Visions. Yeah, no kidding. That is a yucky hand and a half. Okay, Tarmogoyf off the top. Well, that clocks a little bit better than Hexdrinker does, so let's go ahead and put that on the board. And then next turn we'll try and Thoughtseize whatever spell is going to kill us. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We got the Tarmogoyf out so we can start clocking them. Hexdrinker will do something similar. So we're going to be looking to play the Hexdrinker, play the Thoughtseize, level up the Hexdrinker once, maybe twice. No, just once, so that we can get the Thoughtseize out. Okay, so they're playing this Steam Vents here untapped. So what does that mean they have? Do they have like an Opt? Another Hexdrinker, okay. So we're going to want to play probably the Peatland here. Let's start with a Thoughtseize, I think. We don't have any creatures in the yard yet. Okay, so we could probably take their Desperate Ritual. Keep them off of extra mana. Either that or we could take the Opt here so they don't have another play. Sorcery, sorcery, instant. Okay, so that doesn't matter there for Tarmogoyf math. It's just which one we want to take. Either the mana or the card draw. I'm leaning towards the card draw because that's going to get them a land. But the Desperate Ritual is quite dangerous if we leave them with Electromancer and Brawl. So difficult choice here between the Desperate Ritual and the Opt. I'm going to take the Opt here because that's the spell they want to cast this turn. Oh yes, it definitely would. Sort of Feast and Famine with Hexdrinker seems really good. Okay, we'll just play these dudes out and pass. I expect them to play Brawl. They did indeed draw the land here. Hex unequips swords when leveled up because it's protection from everything. Good point. Okay, Lightning Bolt for Brawl. So let's see here. We know they have Desperate Ritual, Brawl, Electromancer. So we know they do not have Remand in hand. So we can Lightning Bolt the Brawl out of the way. Yeah, good thing we talked about that. Get this creature out of the way, grow the Tarmogoyf, and then we can grow one of our Hexdrinkers as well. Let's see here. We have double black, double green, and a single red. So we could go get Blood Crypt here. Okay, so we did present quite the clock here, but the opponent could still win depending on what they draw. It's going to be tough for him, though. Okay, pretty confident at this point that we should have the game. Smoosh, that's right. Cooper Crush. So what do we have against Storm? Soulguy Lantern gets rid of the graveyard, which is one of the things that we want to do versus Storm. Kozilek's Return kills their goblins. We could bring in Abrade to kill a Stormlord. Engineered Explosives kills Stormlords and goblins. So let's see here. Wrenn and Six doesn't kill any other Stormlords. Take it out. Seal of Fire does kill the Goblin Stormlord, so we can leave that in. Leave all the removal in. Leave Cling to Dust in. Scavenging Ooze is good. So we might want to take out probably the Kozilek's Return. We have the Engineered Explosives doing that job. At least take out one of those. We're fine with just the two. And then maybe we already have enough removal between Thoughtseize, Lightning Bolt. We don't actually need Abrade. Abrupt Decay. Yeah, we have so many removal spells here. I don't think we need to be bringing in extra removal versus just a few Stormlords. We should have the spells when we need them. Fingers crossed, you know? We'll take out the Cling to Dust. We already have quite a few graveyard cards that will deal with the entire graveyard when we need it, instead of just one card at a time. Oh, we could also bring in Veil of Summer. But we only have 30 seconds. Alright, we're going to have to submit here. Don't want to go overtime and then just, like, fail to sideboard. Okay, this hand is fine. We have discard spells. We have a way to get rid of the graveyard. We have an answer to their first Stormlord. All we're missing is a threat. Okay, another Mishra's Bauble. And we have the Bloodstained Mire, in case we want to do like that Mishra's Bauble scry trick. The thing is, with the Bloodstained Mire, I want to go get a Stomping Ground. So we're not going to be able to do that this turn. We're just going to have to play the Swamp. So we'll play the Mishra's Bauble first to take a look at what they're going to draw, and that'll inform our decision on how we Inquisition of Kozilek. So they're getting a Pyretic Ritual on their turn. Oh my. Grape Shot, Grape Shot. Abrade, Aria of Flame, Desperate Ritual. So we definitely get rid of the Aria of Flame here. They were going to be able to put it out this turn. Aria of Flame is a very interesting card if you haven't seen it before. When it comes into play, each opponent gains 10 life. Great way to answer Scourge. And then once you start casting spells, you put verse counters on it, and you start dealing damage to the opponent. It's quite brutal. Okay, so Spirebluff Canal is what they played. So we know everything they have in hand. We could Soulguide Lantern, just get that out of here, and then we'll have Soulguide Lantern ready to go. And then maybe play a fetch land so that we can Mishra's Bauble tricks. Okay, let's take a look at what's on top of our library here. Is it a threat? Tarmogoyf, it is, so we want to draw that. We're going to pass through. They didn't have a target that we wanted to hit with a Thoughtseize. Oh, there's the Abrade, so we got that out of their hand. And we want to draw the Tarmogoyf, so we're not going to crack the Bloodstained Mire here in order to draw an extra card with a Lantern. No, you could be right, but I definitely want a way to clock the opponent. They will win if we give them enough time. Okay, another Tarmogoyf. Cool. All right, so they have 4 cards in hand. Again, we know exactly what they have in hand. So I think we'll just play the Verdant Catacombs, play Tarmogoyf, pass. We do have to watch out for double Grape Shot. That can be quite the coup. I think we'll go get Overgrown Tomb here because we have the Tarmogoyf. Tarmageddon. And another Thoughtseize. Okay. So we might want to actually use the Thoughtseizes now to get rid of both of their Grape Shots. Let's see here. We already have instant in the graveyard and sorcery, so we're just going to start with an attack. Might have been better to take their rituals instead. I'm just thinking that if they end up drawing Past in Flames, then I could have made a huge mistake. Think that I probably should have taken the rituals instead of the grape shots there. I was just worried about them double grape shotting, but if I take their rituals, then they wouldn't have the mana to double grape shot anyway. Oh, a Scourge off the top. Yes, please. Hold up red mana for the lightning bolt, but this is the opponent's final turn. They need something good right now. And we win the match. Okay, we have 3 lands. We have an early threat in Hexdrinker. The opponent is also playing Lurrus. So with them playing Lurrus and we have Fatal Push and Abrupt Decay, we're feeling pretty good here. Definitely going to keep this. And our opponent's mulliganing. Panda Anaconda. Okay, Stomping Ground to start. Untapped. We might be playing basically the same deck. I'm looking at Seal of Fire to kill that Swift Spear. I think that's going to be some of the best use we're going to get out of Seal of Fire, and that's going to be pretty good for the Tarmogoyf too. We already have green, black, so I think we're going to go get Blood Crypt. We have plenty of green mana. And no mutagenic growth from the opponent to make me look like a fool. Okay, a second Swift Spear. Mishra's Bauble. But where's the land, opponent? Where is your second land? Targeting themselves. That would be quite good if they have a fetch land in their remainder. They do. Okay. And that might be a card that they want to draw. They haven't cracked that fetch land immediately. Yep, we'll take the 2. And we're going to play Tarmogoyf here. We could play Hexdrinker instead to play around Fatal Push. But Hexdrinker doesn't block the Swift Spear very well. Maybe we just hold up removal here. Let's play the Hexdrinker, and we'll hold up Fatal Push. If they want to kill the Hexdrinker with a Fatal Push, then that means the Tarmogoyf don't get got. Okay, they don't even crack the fetch there. Okay, so if they attack, we're going to block, and then Fatal Push the Swift Spear if they cast another spell. But if they want to trade the Swift Spear for the Hexdrinker, I'm fine with that. Okay, Mutagenic Growth. So we're going to get a 2-for-1 here. Let's see if they go ahead and play Temur Battle Rage. They do not. Still, 2-for-1. Pretty good. They could have... what is the name of that card? Apostle's Blessing. But I haven't seen many lists running that nowadays. Buy one, get one. Okay, here's a Blood Crypt and maybe a Scourge. We have another Fatal Push for that. And we get Wrenn and Six off the top. Leaning more towards playing Tarmogoyf here. Apostle's Blessing is a Cooper card. I mean, I'm a huge fan of that card. But I might be the only one. Okay, so we definitely want to kill the Scourge here. Fatal Push is the only one that's going to allow us to 2-spell to do that. I'm pretty confident I want to play Tarmogoyf here as a second spell. Okay, we don't want to give them time to get their Lurrus going. So we've got a nice stable of threats here. If they tap out, we might even consider leveling up the Hexdrinker. Nope. Bolt. Bolt deals with Hexdrinker. Curious that they use the Blood Crypt for that. I would have used the Stomping Grounds. The Blood Crypt can cast Fatal Push, so they should have left that up as a threat. Okay, so we have a couple options here. We can Wrenn and Six, get a land back. We can Wrenn and Six, do them a damage. We could put Lurrus in our hand. We could put the Hexdrinker down, hold up Abrupt Decay. Start with an attack. Okay, is it wrong that I just want to Wrenn and Six, do them 1 damage 3 times in a row? Let's get some lands. play the Hexdrinker, and then next turn we have more lands this way. We could put Lurrus in our hand and still have Abrupt Decay up. And depending on what they do, if they tap their mana, we can level up Hexdrinker. They're under quite the threat here. And Wrenn and Six is even lethal when combined with the Tarmogoyf. That would have been one good reason to tick down the Wrenn and Six. It would have made the Hexdrinker lethal as well. Okay, so they really need Fatal Push in hand here. Nope, they're just going to show us the Seal of Fire and concede. That's fair. So we're facing almost a mirror match. So let's see here. We're going to want to go grindy. Veil of Summer could be quite good. Kozilek's Command and Engineered Explosives are both part of the grind. If we're going to be looking to kill Tarmogoyfs and Scourges, that's what we're going to want. And Veil of Summer will protect our own threats versus their Fatal Pushes. Lightning Bolt isn't going to be as strong a removal spell when we're dealing with Tarmogoyfs. So we could potentially take that out. There's also the classic wisdom of taking removal, or rather discard spells out in these kind of matches. I wouldn't mind leaving some in, though, as a way to get a Lurrus when they put it in their hand. I'm wondering if I want to bring in Assassin's Trophy as just one more removal spell. I don't like the idea of ramping my opponent, but they probably only have 2 basics like us. Dismember isn't going to be very good against their Death Shadows or Scourges in particular. Spellbomb is only okay. Cling to Dust could actually be quite strong. Same with the Scavenging Ooze. So I think we'll take out some number of Inquisition Thoughtseize Lightning Bolts. Bolts are good for face tricks, yes indeed. So we only took 1 bolt out. Okay, this hand is garbage. We're going to throw this back. Wrenn and Six isn't too great either. It is pretty good in a grind, though. So we only have 1 land. I don't want to mulligan to 5. This hand could be quite strong if we get the Veil to go off. And we have the Fatal Push. If we get another land, Wrenn and Six will get us all the rest of the lands that we need. So Wrenn and Six is looking pretty good in this hand if we can find 1 more land. We're going to keep. We have to throw 1 thing back. I'm leaning towards Cling to Dust or Dismember here. I think I want the extra removal spell. We'll probably get rid of the Cling to Dust. You think get rid of the Dismember, eh? We already have the Fatal Push as 1 removal spell. Cling to Dust is really only great if we get the opponent by bringing our life total to a point where the Scourge is going to be taken out of the board. I would rather, I think, keep the Dismember to kill a Tarmogoyf. That's true too. That's true too. It does cantrip. So yeah, my bad. Yeah, the cantrip would have been actually very nice. So I think that you were right, handsome. Okay, there's that Inquisition. Probably going to take our Veil of Summer here. but they might take our Inquisition or Wrenn and Six. Taking the Wrenn and Six, I think, would be pretty heads up from the opponent. Okay, they do take our discard spell. Okay, we find Mishra's Bauble off the top. We'll play our land and Bauble ourselves. But we're going to Bauble ourselves during the opponent's turn, so they can't Thoughtseize the extra card. And we want to go get the Overgrown Tomb in response to a potential spell anyway. So let's just wait and see what the opponent does here. Because we didn't fetch right away, they're not going to be able to play a Scourge this turn. Okay, go to the end step and take a look at what's on top for us. Is it a land? It's Abrupt Decay, so we're going to fetch. We'll go get Overgrown Tomb tapped. And 2 chances at a land here. We miss on both. That is brutal. Okay, pass. We can cantrip a Veil, that's right. All we got to do is wait for them to cast a black spell. Oh, the Brushfire Elemental. I've seen this. Whenever a land enters play, gets +2/+2. Yeah, I've seen a few lists playing this card. Not a huge fan of it myself. Y'all want to attack me for 1? Go for it. I mean, this card is great with a fetch land. It's fantastic with a fetch land. And we get a lightning bolt off the top. Brutal. All right. Well, let's pass back to the opponent. That's what we get for keeping a 1-lander. I think it was fine with a Wrenn and Six. But we probably should have kept the cantrip there just so we could have got an extra draw. The Mishra's Bauble was nice tech. It was definitely risky. Any 1-land keep is risky. And I've kept a lot of 1-land hands. That's just one of the things that I do. Sometimes I keep a 1-land hand. Okay, they're just going to pass back. We're getting pretty close to going ahead and using one of our spells on the elemental just to get it off the board. We don't want to discard the hand size. Okay, we got it. Wrenn and Six looks pretty good against that Brushfire Elemental, right, chat? They'll probably have a, what's name? Mutagenic Growth to save it. I think we'll get Stomping Ground here. We have a lot of green cards. Probably does. Okay, so this looks like what? A Dismember? Oh, they're dismembering their own creature to lose life so they can play their shadow. So 2 for 1. That's true. He does know about the push. Knows about quite a bit of my hand here. But if they're tapping off green, then they probably don't have an answer. They really want to keep that green mana open to bluff a Veil of Summer. Okay, so we can kill both of their creatures here. Okay, we get land off the top. So we have a couple options here on how we can kill these creatures. We can Lightning Bolt the Death Shadow and then push the Tarmogoyf. We can dismember the Tarmogoyf and then use the Wrenn and Six minus to do the last point of damage. And then Lightning Bolt the Death Shadow. And we can do all that and hold up Veil of Summer. The thing that we need to worry about is Mutagenic Growth. But I think if they had that, they would have cast the Mutagenic Growth on the Brushfire Elemental. So the question is, do we play the Forest and... I guess we could still just use the Wrenn and Six to pick up a fetch land regardless. Let's start with the Lightning Bolt on the Death Shadow, just in case anything goes terribly, terribly wrong. Okay, that worked. I think we probably dismember the Tarmogoyf and hold up Fatal Push. Fatal Push is our best removal spell. You think pick up a land and hold up Dismember? We'll still be able to dismember if they have a Scourge, because we're at 14. We'll be able to dismember for mana. Oh, we're actually missing a black source, so we wouldn't be able to dismember a Scourge. Okay, so we can cycle one of these Veil of Summer. They've cast a black spell. So we'll just cycle that. Okay, Lightning Bolt on the Wrenn and Six. Takes it off the board. And we have Scavenging Ooze to start gaining life. Looks like only three creatures in the yard. Unfortunately, our Dismember still isn't going to work, because we would lose one life from the Peatland here. But it will kill a Death Shadow. I definitely like it. I like it as an option. Even though it's a little bit of a non-bow with some of the things that we're doing, I think it's still viable. Okay, so this is a bit of a tricky situation here. If we take the damage from the Scourge, we're not going to be able to gain enough life to bring the Scourge back to a reasonable level. But if we block it, we lose our Scavenging Ooze. I suppose we could block, make this Scavenging Ooze a 4/4. So we would effectively gain nothing, but we would take their Death Shadow out of the graveyard. It would be a chump, but we would be able to dismember next turn? No, because we're still missing the black mana. I think that we have to count on drawing another push or Abrupt Decay. Yeah, but I would lose a life as well as gain a life when I use the Peatland. So the Scourge would stay at a 5/5. And then the fetch would put it up to 6. I think I just have to take it. We can chump on another turn, exactly. Push. Off the top. Come on. Another land instead. Okay. So we'll just play Verdant Catacombs here. We can go get basic Swamp with that. We're going to have to chump the Scourge, and we're going to dismember the Death Shadow now. Right meow. Whoa, man, we almost were able to kill on a crackback, actually. Because that goes up to 6. We were just missing a lightning bolt. Very, very close. Cool game. Okay, opponent's drawing a card with their own Peatland. Spellbomb, huh? Okay, that's another cantrip. And it reduces the effectiveness of our own Lurrus. Okay, we have no play here other than chump block. I think that I'm going to leave the Peatland here. We could draw a card with the Peatland here, or we can eat the Death Shadow. I'm actually leaning towards eating the Shadow. Just to keep that away from their Lurrus. If their last card is Temur Battle Rage, we're in quite a bit of trouble. Exile our cards from a target player's graveyard. They're not targeting themselves, are they? Oh my, they are. I'm pretty sure they targeted themselves with a Spellbomb, just to keep us from gaining that 1 life. Neat. Overgrown Tomb, huh? Don't tell me you have a Hexdrinker. Ah, Death Shadow. That makes more sense. Okay, this is going to be difficult to get through. Let's see here. We already have the Stomping Ground and Overgrown Tomb and Forest in play. So I don't think we have another green source we can fetch out. Nope, we do have 2 Overgrown Tombs. Okay. Oh, we get another land off that. And we get a Scourge. So we need a way to remove the Death Shadow, or their Scourge, and just hold on to the our Scourge. Draw a card. Wrenn and Six. That doesn't do it. And if we draw another card, then we don't have mana for everything we need to do. So I think we're just dead here. Because yeah, we draw a card, we only have 2 lands left. We can play the Scourge, but we're toast. Wrenn and Six does nothing on this board. Come on, opponent, just let me draw the card. I want to concede. Another Wrenn and Six. All right. Okay, so we're going to bring in Assassin's Trophy. Wrenn and Six wasn't looking too hot there. So maybe we bring the discard spells back in, take out Wrenn and Six. Opponent giving us the GGs after game 2. I have been known to do a thing like that myself. Sometimes after a particularly good game, I offer my my hand for a handshake, and then my opponents would be like, "Dude, we're still playing." I say, "Yeah, but that was a really good game." Of course, we don't really do that anymore, do we? Shake hands or go play Magic in person. Okay, so we got the play this time. Okay, we have lands and spells. Thoughtseize to get rid of the removal spell. Play Tarmogoyf. This hand is okay. A little bit heavy on the lands, but we'll keep. All right. So yeah, Thoughtseize first. We'll probably play the Blood Crypt to do that. Then we can fetch for the Tarmogoyf. Okay, so they have Swift Spear to start. And the Scourge is a problem. They also have Death Shadow. I think I'd probably take Scourge here, because I just don't have an answer to it. The Tarmogoyf should answer the Swift Spear quite well, and Scourge will answer the Death Shadow. Sorcery, creature, land, So Tarmogoyf is going to be a 3/4 well out of the range of Lightning Bolt. Oh, and they're just leaving the Verdant Catacombs out. So maybe they drew like a Fatal Push or something? Well, let's start with the Tarmogoyf. And if they want to kill that, they'll need to use the Fatal Push. And I'm fine with getting a Fatal Push out of their hand. That'll save our Scourge. Abrupt Decay is going to be great against their Death Shadow. Okay, Thoughtseize, take our Scourge. We're probably going to put Lurrus into our hand. Oh, you're right. You're totally right. Of course, 13 is my lucky number. I remember using that card once. I drafted it. And I ended up getting a draw because I had attacked my opponent down to 13, and then with the card they drew, they were able to negotiate a combat plus spell trick that put me to 13 as well. So, GG, opponent. All right, so we can probably just go get a basic here. We've got plenty of different colors of mana here, and we don't need to be reducing our life total much further. Just go get Swamp. Put Lurrus in hand. Hope they don't have another Thoughtseize. But anytime they're spending turns getting spells out of our hand, that means that they aren't casting their own spells, and our Tarmogoyf is that much faster towards killing them. We do have to worry about their Lightning Bolt. Keep that in mind. So we don't play Lurrus into their Lightning Bolt. Okay, Death Shadow, gonna kill that. Okay, so they get rid of one of our spells here. They could take the Lurrus, but they have Lightning Bolt for it, so they'll probably take Abrupt Decay. So we're forced to Assassin's Trophy their Death Shadow. I have not been keeping track of what's in their hand. So they could have an unknown card here. Okay, so they took the Lurrus, they're leaving the Abrupt Decay. I mean, we do have 2 removal spells. Just means that their Lightning Bolt isn't very good. But if they have, what's name? Veil of Summer, then we're in for a world of hurt. Okay, Mishra's Bauble is going to make the Tarmogoyf larger. Let's go ahead. Play the other land. Definitely. I'm going to play it untapped too. I'm going to take a peek at what they've got on top. They have Mishra's Bauble as well. Let's start with the Abrupt Decay. And then if they have Veil, we'll use a trophy. Okay, they do. There is definitely some value to doing that the other way. I just didn't want to count on them having that Veil. But they are going to be able to cantrip off of it. They got a pretty good trade there. And they still have their Lightning Bolt up, but we have a 5/6. So they don't have very much time. Yeah, the spell doesn't fizzle. Veil of Summer is worded in a very interesting way. The card is very, very strong, but we all know that. Okay, I think we draw a card here. We just get a land. So we're really in top deck on ourselves, but the opponent has 4 cards in hand. We know, I believe, 3 of them. Monastery Swiftspear, Lightning Bolt, Mishra's Bauble. This is really the crux of the match. We're going to find out win or lose very soon. Oh my, Brushfire Elemental. Okay, so that was the unknown card. That's going to block quite well. I lose to Seal. They lose to Lightning Bolt. Okay, no attacks. We get a Bauble off the top. Draw Bolt from the board. You got it. I'm pretty sure... Yeah, we brought all the bolts back in. We have 4 bolts in the deck. I'm just wondering, if I attack, they must block. But what if they double block? Double block Lightning Bolt would kill the Tarmogoyf, but that would be a 3-for-1. Hypergeometrics time. I think that's actually built into MtG bot. We have 46 cards, and we're looking for a set of 4. Okay, so they cannot Lightning Bolt this turn. We attack with Tarmogoyf, they block with Swiftspear. Next turn they get Fetch Land, attack for 5 with Brushfire Elemental, put us to 5. Lightning Bolt still doesn't finish us off. I think that it's safe to attack. That's right, only Swamp Open means no Lightning Bolts. Okay, so the question is, do we use the Bauble now to try and draw Lightning Bolt and hit him on the upkeep? I think that we can actually wait on the upkeep here, check what they're going to draw, and then we'll draw 2 cards on our turn. I'm pretty sure they can't kill us unless they have Fetch Land into TBR, and I'm pretty sure they have Mishra's Bauble Lightning Bolt in hand. We've already lost our Lurrus. I don't think there's any reason to play the Overgrown Tomb. We'll just pass. We'll hold it up as a bluff. Okay. They're drawing Inquisition. Oh, that's Scourge with Kicker, right? Inquisition's quite bad on their part. Okay, so they had another Swiftspear. So this is going to do quite a bit of damage. But we have double draw off the top to find Lightning Bolt or Removal Spell. So we're definitely still in it. Love these close games, though. Gotta love the sweat. Pretty sure their last card is Lightning Bolt. Okay, no attacks. Neat. Let's draw 2 cards. We get a Cling to Dust and a Scavenging Ooze. Nice. Very nice. That would have been the reason to play the Overgrown Tomb last turn. We'll attack with Tarmogoyf, play Scavenging Ooze. Probably should have. Probably should have. Could have taken out a blocker that way. No, that's fine. That's fine, we tapped like that. We have a blocker for their Brushfire Elemental. We have the Cling if they try and do any tricks. Cling can also gain life for us. One of the things that I was thinking, and one of the reasons I didn't cantrip, is just in case I want to gain the life. They still have access to Lurrus as well. But if they attack here, they just die, right? They have 1 card in hand. It's true, it's true. Could Cling into removal. We'll Cling coming up. I don't think they're going to attack. Nope, no attacks. So they just have a 3/3. Oh, is this a Scourge? No, this is a Lurrus going to hand. Okay. So we're looking pretty good here. They have Lurrus and Lightning Bolt. They Lightning Bolt the Scavenging Ooze. I don't think opponent is supposed to pass here. I think they're supposed to Lightning Bolt the Scavenging Ooze. Okay. I think we just attack here and win the game, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Plenty of creatures. Pump once, wait for bolt, pump twice. Hit 3-2, we did it. Yes, indeed. But it was the 3-2 where you start 2 down. So we feel pretty good about that 3-2. Phew. Wipe the sweat from my brow.